Hello, everybody. It's Alex Shevchenko here. I welcome you to the final Friday Alpha League session that is happening in this 2023 year. I'm glad that all of you have joined, and it's super glad to have you here. Merry Christmas to everybody, and Happy New Year. I wish you all of the best in the following year. I wish this next year being better than the previous one. It was quite a challenging year for many of us, both on the personal side, most probably, because there is quite a lot of instability in the world happening at the moment. I hope all of your relatives are safe and everybody is feeling good. But also in the crypto space, our professional vertical that we are working in, the previous year was quite a challenging one, and with lots of troubles and lots of stress that was caused to everybody. So with that, though the previous year was challenging, what I would like to do for the end stream of this year is actually to do some kind of sum up of all of the different things that have been happening in the Aurora ecosystem, and share and remind you of all of these great achievements that together Aurora ecosystem managed to deliver. There are quite a lot of different things that were happening, and it is super great to see all of this stuff. Also, I would like to share some of the thoughts and some of the projects that we're working on that are going to be continued in 2023, and some specific focal points for us, and different important directions for the research. And hopefully this will bring you some understanding about the direction that the project is taking, or at least where Aurora Labs is trying to move the ecosystem to. Um, yeah, and also this is an AMA session, so I'm reading right on the screen all of the comments. So saying hello to Ram, Bobby TV, lots of other stuff. Aman, Daniel, saying hello to all of you. Thank you very much for joining. And you are able, since this is a live stream, you are able to ask your questions. And I will be reading through all of these questions and trying to answer all of them. So without further ado, let's do the review of the year. And I would like to start with some numbers, right? The typical thing that people really like, and myself too, is the numbers. What are the things that we've achieved? So first of all, for the first time, Aurora Network was able to deliver more than 1 million monthly active users, and this is a pretty recent achievement. We've seen the uptick in the network usage starting from Q3, so the market started to become a little bit more interesting, and in Q4, the usage of Aurora Network skyrocketed, and we surpassed this very important kind of barrier, I would say, of 1 million monthly active users. Mainly, this is happening on Aurora because um, uh, of our set of technologies that allows users to send transactions without fees, and because of this. Gaming is a super interesting vertical for the Aurora ecosystem, where games are able to onboard the users without the hassle of the users needing to own base token in order to execute the transactions. Aurora Network processed more than 10 million transactions over this year. That is kind of a little bit lower than the previous year, than 2022. But the majority of the transactions in 2022 were around the launch of Aurora Plus and different airdrops and different mechanics around it. So, if we are going to exclude it, it is also a multiple 100 million increase, multiple hundreds of percent increase over the previous year. So despite the market going down, the activity on the network was increasing. Aurora increased its market cap drastically multiple times. And the majority of there are two components to the increase of the market cap. And one part of it is the increase of the circulating supply of the Aurora token. Now the circulating supply, if I'm not mistaken, is above 30%. And so the total amount of Aurora, right? So that's quite a lot, and it shows the sustainability of the Aurora token economy. And from the other standpoint, obviously the price of the Aurora token increased also multiple times. So even in the bear market, right? So again, the performance that we have seen over this year was a pretty drastic and pretty impressive. Obviously, in order to be completely neutral, what I can say is that the majority of the year, the token price was going down because of the bear market. However, recently, in the past couple of months, there was an uptick in the activity around the token. The crypto market started to revive, and so this influenced also the Aurora token. So this increase mainly happened in the last couple of months. The TVL on Aurora currently is at 26.8 million. It is not the highest, and there are obviously chains with a higher TVL. However, we also see with the price action and with more activity happening on the network, we also see the increase of the TVL on Aurora, and this is something pretty great to see. I do believe that generally with free transactions, this is something that makes users more comfortable in performing lower trades, I would say. So obviously, for gigantic TVL networks, or for the networks that are focused on DeFi only, probably these free transactions is not something that makes lots of sense. It is like it's a nice feature to have, but this is not a deal breaker. However, in the case of Aurora, what we see is that the typical size of the trades, the typical size of the transactions is substantially lower. And because of this, since the users are able either to have free transactions or the transactions at the fees of a fraction of a cent, it really, really makes sense. And from that standpoint of view, since the value that is transacted is not that high, there is no requirement of super high TVL on Aurora to make these transactions pretty comfortable, so they are not changing the price too much. And from that standpoint of view, I mean, it is not the super high TVL. However, for small value transactions, it is enough, and we also see the tendency of it increasing, which is pretty good. Aurora improved its position on the coin market cap. Throughout the year, we started the year with a position of around 550 on coin market cap. We were going a little bit down during the year, but not substantially, to something like 600. And at the moment, we increased our position to 329, and in December we went in the top 300 in the coin market cap. So this is again a pretty recent, but still a pretty good performance that is shown from the token and also from the trust from the investors. We've seen a large increase in the activity in the Asian and America regions, which means that more people are paying attention from these particular geographies to the network and to the investing activity in the network. And this is great. Especially, I do believe the thing that helps this is the fact that the Aurora token is listed on the top exchanges in these regions. So in the US, Aurora token is listed on Coinbase, and in Asia there is a listing on Gate.io, which is the Hong Kong exchange, and there are many more that are. There is Huobi, and there are some other exchanges. What I would like to tell and remind everybody, because sometimes from time to time people are sending us the messages around this particular issue. So I would like to urge you to very carefully look at the networks where the exchanges are accepting deposits and withdrawals of the Aurora token. Now, you need to understand that there is Aurora token on Ethereum mainnet. It has the address 0x and 6As in the beginning, and then something something. And then this token can be bridged over the Rainbow Bridge inside of the Aurora network. And then there is this Aurora token in the Aurora network. And in the Aurora network, you naturally can stake this token and use it in different trading activities. And some of the exchanges are allowing the deposits and withdrawals directly from the Aurora network, but not all of them. So if you're working with Huobi and Gate.io, you're able to deposit your Aurora tokens and withdraw on both networks, Ethereum and Aurora itself. However, for example, if you're working with Coinbase, the only network that is supported is the Ethereum mainnet. So in case, for example, you have your Aurora tokens on the balance of your Aurora account, Aurora Network account, in order to deposit your tokens to Coinbase, you need to use Rainbow Bridge, move the tokens to the Ethereum, and then move these tokens to your Coinbase account. Good thing about it is that with Aurora tokens, you are able to use the fast Rainbow Bridge, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later when we're going to talk about product innovations. But with the fast Rainbow Bridge, you can just click one button and then move your assets directly into your Coinbase deposit address. It is super simple and straightforward. We have launched this year a solution that is called Aurora Pass, and it is getting quite a lot of traction. So more than 40,000 users are daily using Aurora Pass as their go-to wallet on the Aurora network. And this is quite a great achievement. We see lots of great feedback about how Aurora Pass is working. It is very user-friendly, straightforward to use, even for housewives or husbands, probably. And it really clicks it. So this is exactly the direction that we're going. We have always been thinking of the great user experience, and because of this, I'm super pleased to see this traction. And there are even more people who are using Aurora Plus, which is our kind of one place to experience the Aurora network, or like at least a starting place to experience the Aurora network and the Aurora ecosystem. All of these numbers, as you can see, they were growing in 2023 despite the bear market and the overall pretty grim situation in the industry, and that's a pretty great achievement. And I'm super glad that the Aurora community is sticking around the project, is investing the time in the project, is investing in different things inside of the ecosystem. It's just great to see this appreciation that is coming from the Aurora ecosystem. So my big thanks to all of you throughout these pretty grim times, and hopefully next year is going to be much better for everybody, and everyone will feel much better too. Now, in terms of the new products, and these are completely new things that were launched, so it is not an product update, but just completely new things that were launched in 2023. We have some, I would say. And actually, there are quite a lot of different changes here. So first of all, in March 2023, and then later in November 2023, we've launched a solution that is now known as Aurora Cloud. This is a one-stop shop for businesses who are willing to launch their solution on top of the Aurora network or inside of the Aurora ecosystem. The core idea behind it is the following. Like, my personal belief is that we're not going to see Web2 businesses fall apart and being ruined completely by the new businesses that are created within the Web3 paradigm. I don't think that this is going to happen. Instead, what I think is going to happen is that Web3 businesses and Web3 logic and the ideas of self-sovereignty, ideas of controlling your funds and your identity and your governance powers, these ideas are going to immerse in the Web2 businesses. And they are going to take it and adapt it and make sure that Web3 companies are not disrupting them. And if and like the simple reason for this is just Web2 companies have quite a lot of money at stake, and Web3 businesses are mainly startups, right? So they are able to innovate while the innovations are going to be consumed by the Web2 businesses. This is a very, very typical thing that we see generically in the Web2. And in generally in how the businesses are operating. So my expectation is this is what is going to happen, which means that the majority of the value to the Web3 is going to be delivered, funny enough, by Web2 companies. And in order to stimulate the adoption of the Web3 technologies, what we need to give to the market is an easy, straightforward, manageable, and very very, yeah, it's just easy and straightforward way how to work with the blockchain tech. And these ideas were incorporated in the product that is now called Aurora Cloud. If you would think of it, what it is a way, it is a set of tools that allows the Web2 businesses to adopt blockchain tech. We're going to talk about it a little bit later, what are specific pieces there, but that is the core idea of the Aurora Cloud. This is something that bridges the gap in between the existing Web2 businesses and the new emergent Web3 narrative of the blockchain. Is one of the part of this narrative that can be used by both businesses and by the end users. We have launched in July Aurora Pass as a non-custodial mobile-first crypto wallet that doesn't have any clunky interface and all of the complicated things about the blockchain, like transaction fees, nonsense, need to speed up the transactions and stuff like that. The application makes it simple for everybody, and if you have not installed it yet, I highly recommend you to install it. You just go to your application store, whether it is Google or Apple, and find Aurora Pass, install. You are going to immediately see how you need to build Web3 wallets. And the last thing, we relaunched the Aurora Plus that was launched 1.5 years ago. We relaunched it as a dApp, and now it is just kind of an interface where multiple pieces of the Aurora ecosystem are gathered together. So it is a nice go-to place for everybody to interact with the Aurora ecosystem. Now, since we're stepping in the Aurora Cloud, right? So for the ability to interact with the blockchain, what businesses are able to do is to work, they are able to launch their own customized chain, which is a copy of the Aurora network. And for those of you who don't know, Aurora itself is not a network, kind of. It is seen as a network. It looks like network. It feels like network. It squawks like network. But in fact, it is a smart contract that is working on top of Near protocol. And the reason of this design, the reason for this architecture is exactly to be able to deliver as many networks as it is required. So already 2.5 years ago when Aurora, or even more, almost 3 years ago when Aurora started, there were discussions about how to choose the architecture for it. And the specific decision was made that it must be a smart contract. Why? Because you're able to launch another network in just several seconds through deployment of this smart contract once again, and then once again, and so on. You don't need to spawn validators in order to run the network. That is a core thing. This is a core piece of this technology. And obviously, it is possible because of the scalability that Near protocol offers to us. For Aurora users, the work on Near is completely transparent. Nobody ever who have been interacting with Aurora have seen anything from the Near protocol directly happening inside of the network. It's just the EVM compatible network, and it works, and that's good. So that's the core thing. And the reason why businesses would like to have their own customized chain is because they would like to have naturally more control of the things that are happening. So if you would think of it, the compute and the idea of compute has always been attached to the ownership of this compute. You launch your own servers in-house. These are your servers. You go to Amazon and order some cloud servers. Still, these are your own servers, though they are located physically in some kind of Amazon Amazon data center, right? However, you have the exclusive ownership of this compute. And businesses, though they are potentially willing to open things up a little bit, they would like to still have the control. All of the regulations are written around the control, right? That you, for example, if you're talking about things like the regulations around the customer's data, right, or the user data. You must store this data, but in case the user is requesting for the deletion of this data, you must comply with it. And businesses compliance must have an ability to delete the data, must have the ability to to manage the stuff. And because of this, launching customized chains is super important. Another thing is that that businesses are very used to is that they are able to buy the technologies that are using which they are using in order to deliver their product and hide the business model of these technologies inside of the business of a single business model of the product. It sounds complicated, but here's an example for you. When you're watching YouTube videos like this, you usually uh, either watching ads that Google is serving to you, or you have bought a YouTube Premium subscription. And this is the business model that YouTube is offering to you. However, inside of it, there are quite a lot of costs for Google to deliver YouTube. They are paying to the creators. They are paying to the content delivery network providers for delivering the content to the end user device. And they are paying for many other things. However, the end user who is watching videos, he doesn't see all of these tiny bits that he's paying for. And it's just because it is natural. If I'm buying a car, I do not want to pay to 100 different manufacturers for all of the individual parts that the car consists of. And blockchain somewhat breaks this feeling at the moment, because when you would like to use an application, a game, for example, but then the blockchain says, wait a minute, you need to pay a fee for the transaction on the blockchain. It just throws in the face of the end user this business model of the blockchain itself. It is complicated, it is clunky, and it's very hard to understand for the ordinary Web2 people. And because of this, one of the core solutions that we have is this protocol level meta transaction. So an ability for anyone to pay for the end user transactions. So with Aurora Pass, there is 53 transactions per month, and it is Aurora Labs who is paying for this onboarding experience for everybody in the Aurora ecosystem. But businesses with Aurora Cloud are also able to pay for the transactions of their own users on their own network. Or, for example, they are able to pay for the transactions that are going directly into their own smart contracts, whether it is on their network or on the Aurora mainnet. Besides that, so summing up this thing, it is a vital and core piece for the adoption of the blockchain technology by Web2 businesses. Besides that, obviously, continuing the control part, they would like to monitor what is happening on the network. They would like to see the latency, whether the RPCs are performing well, what are the transaction loads, how to react on this stuff. All of this monitoring is delivered to them through the product that is called Aurora Cloud Console. And if you are going to go to Aurora Cloud.dev, you will be able to see the demo of this Aurora Cloud Console, and how does this thing work. So, and besides that, what we've launched within the Aurora Cloud is a marketplace for integrations that will help to streamline for the businesses the integration with the blockchain. Usually, it's not only the network that is required. It's not only the easiness of onboarding of the users, right? But typically, you need to have some additional pieces there. You need to have an Oracle solution. You need to have an on-ramp solution so your users are able to move in the network money, and some other stuff, right? So all of these pieces now are viewed in the Aurora Cloud product as just add-ons that you can turn on and off, and use it the same way how businesses are using some extensions to the core products that they have bought. So just in general, Aurora Cloud is the very convenient packaging for the businesses who are willing to launch on the blockchain these different pieces of the blockchain technology. But as I was saying, businesses is only one side, because if you will think of it, blockchain is a platform, and which means that this is a place where businesses are meeting the users, right? So the economical activity in between these two, it is propelled by the both sides. You cannot just invest in businesses, because then you will have no users to work with it. But you also cannot invest in users because there will be nothing for them to do. So you kind of need to manage both of these sides. So on the user side, the things that we've developed, and I was already saying and referring to these, is the Aurora Pass. This is the mobile wallet with simple onboarding. Again, there is not enough words that I can say, not enough good words that I'm able to say about Aurora Pass. You just need to go and try it out, and see how this thing is working. And for those of you who maybe just recently onboarded to the Aurora ecosystem, there is a specific website. It is located at aurora.plus. This is an all-in dApp for the Aurora ecosystem, I would say. So it has the front end for the Aurora staking. So Aurora token can be staked. Again, this is not a financial advice. Anything of what I'm saying is a financial advice. I'm just trying to propel some information to you. So there is an Aurora staking. Again, it is permissionless. You're able to work directly with the smart contracts. However, inside of the Aurora Pass, there is a nice front end for it. So you're able to stake Aurora tokens there. Besides that, there is a functionality for swapping assets. And it is working with 1inch, which means that it delivers the best possible swapping and exchange pricing. In case you are willing to purchase some tokens inside of the Aurora network, I highly recommend you either to use 1inch native front end for this, or Aurora Pass that just incorporates the 1inch front end inside of it. Besides that, the biggest lending and borrowing protocol on Aurora, Origami, that merged together with Passion Protocol also delivered their lending and borrowing experience directly in Aurora Plus. So on the Earn page or the Earn tab in lending and borrowing, in Aurora Plus, you're able to see the lending and borrowing functionality of the Aurora Plus. We also have a built-in bridge directly in the Aurora Plus. And by the way, obviously this is a Rainbow Bridge. However, the Rainbow Bridge also has a kind of a pluggable version. So it is a pluggable bridge to any front end. So in case you have launched your application on Aurora, you're just able to go to rainbowbridge.app/embed and have an embedded version of the Rainbow Bridge directly in your front end. This is exactly what we have done with Aurora Plus website. And now you are able to use it directly in Aurora Plus without switching to any other tabs. There is also an on-ramp that is working in Aurora Plus. So in case you're willing to purchase some Aurora tokens, you're able to do this. Now, this on-ramp has its own regulations and its own rules. So depending on your location, you might be restricted from using this on-ramp. And besides that, there is also an interface for discovering of the different applications. So there is a long list, more than 250 different applications working in Aurora ecosystem, and there is a place for you to see all of these applications and navigate through them. You're also able to make some of the applications your favorite. So they are listed on your kind of home screen. You can think of it as a home screen of your smartphone, where you are able to quickly go to the front ends of these applications. All in all, Aurora Plus is a very convenient and nice helper to anybody who is using Aurora ecosystem and who is performing some actions in the Aurora ecosystem. And I highly recommend, in case you are not yet using it, go and just try it out. With Rainbow Bridge, now we are talking about the products that are already in the market and the evolution of the Rainbow Bridge. When people are thinking about the Ethereum protocol upgrades, usually what they are thinking of is of some kind of researchers and engineers in their ivory towers are doing some things, and well, hopefully things are becoming more stable, more secure, better, and stuff like that. And there is usually nothing that changes for the end users. However, for us, and also for developers too. However, for us as developers and maintainers of the Rainbow Bridge, many things are changing with all of the different upgrades that are happening in both Near and Aurora Network, and we need to accommodate for it. Chapella upgrade that was happening in Ethereum was causing quite a lot of troubles for us, I would say, because quite a lot of different things needed to be rewritten and validated and audited. So that was a major milestone for us. And Rainbow Bridge continued its execution without any hassle. An additional great function was implemented for the Rainbow Bridge, and I was mentioning it before, and this is the fast Rainbow Bridge. Now, because of the way how Rainbow Bridge is implemented, its architecture is trustless and permissionless, which means that there is no multi-sig that is controlling the transfers from one network to the other. Everything is based on the smart contracts and the execution of the transactions on the networks. And because of this, there are some limitations on the speed of the execution of the transactions from Aurora to the Ethereum. So these transactions are typically take from 4 to 8 hours to be executed, and this is a two-stage process. So you either need to initiate the transaction, then wait these 4 to 8 hours, and then finalize this transaction on the Ethereum side. It is not very convenient, and we have been thinking a lot of how we can speed things up here. Are we able to conserve the these features of trustless and permissionless setup, however, make things faster. And we figured out the way how to do this. It is done through third parties providing liquidity on the Ethereum side to be able to fast finalize the transaction. The interesting thing about it is that now, in case you're willing to, as a user, you're willing to use the Rainbow Bridge in a fast version for bridging your assets from Aurora or near to Ethereum, you're able to do it in seconds. And the assets are arriving to your account on the Ethereum side. And moreover, sometimes because of the combinations of the fees that you need to pay on Ethereum side, and this is also done in just one stage transaction. You just activate this transaction and say that this is a fast bridge transaction, and then everything is done. There is no second step that you need to do in some distant time. It is a much better user experience, and moreover, sometimes people get confused that, oh my God, I'm getting a fast bridge transfer. The assets are going to be arriving right here, right now. And it costs actually less than ordinary bridge transfers. Is this correct? And the answer is yes. And the reason why it is correct is a combination of the size of your transfer and also the gas fees that need to be paid on the Ethereum network. So the transactions within the fast bridge transfers, they consume less gas. And in case your transfer is not that big and you're just performing this transaction, the fee on the bridge uh, um, is going to be much lower. So that's okay. You're not mistaken. And in case the official front end of the Rainbow Bridge, and I urge you to use only the official front end for it, which is rainbowbridge.app. If the front end is saying that the cost of the fast Rainbow Bridge transaction is lower than the ordinary, then that's the case. And this is happening, and actually this is happening pretty often. Besides that, since USDC and USDT were officially launched on the Near blockchain, both of the tokens were included in the Rainbow Bridge, and we allowed for it. And there are some smaller upgrades to the Rainbow Bridge, like Wrapped Near upgrade. Summing it up on the Rainbow Bridge side, I can say that Rainbow Bridge, being a mature product with a perfect history of focusing on security and reliability, has continued its journey over the previous year. There were zero hacks of the Rainbow Bridge since the beginning, since the launch of the Rainbow Bridge. And moreover, over the previous year, there were no major issues reported by the white hat hackers, though we constantly incentivize them to break the Rainbow Bridge with increased bug bounties, even on some specific new features that were delivered in the Rainbow Bridge. So that is just besides being just a tremendous result, this is also something that shows the reliability and the robustness of the Rainbow Bridge technology. And it being in production, obviously the major focus here is to maintain this stability and make sure that it continues to work in a proper setup. However, we are not stopping here. And as you can see, we're innovating with the additional feature implementations like Fast Rainbow Bridge. However, besides all of this, besides of the user-facing products, there were also quite a lot of technical enhancements that were happening directly for developers and just inside of the Aurora tech stack. And the first to mention is the Aurora cross-contract call library. Since Aurora is you can see it as a kind of layer two setup for everybody. And since there might be many Aurora networks launched, and there are many Aurora networks launched already, these networks, since they're working in the same environment of the near blockchain, these networks are able to interoperate with each other by default right from the box. You can think of these as if you have networks that are interconnected by layer 0 or XLR right away from the box, right? And moreover, it is the layer 0 or XLR 2.0 where there is no third party that you need to trust for the message passing, but rather it is working without trustlessly and permissionlessly. So this Aurora cross-contract calls library, it really allows people to build applications that span over multiple Aurora networks. And at the moment, the technology is not heavily utilized, but I really put quite a lot of emphasis here because my expectation and what I think is going to happen, the networks that are launched with Aurora Tech are going to be segmented and are going to, focus on some specific pieces of the technology. I easily can see that there is a permission DeFi network, there is an ID network, there is a social network, and the interconnection in between this network through Aurora cross-contract calls in order to build enriched experiences, like, for example, an application that allows you to take a loan, and it goes to the social network, gets your profile, runs the risk scoring algorithm, goes to the permission-defined network where the liquidity is hosted, and then withdraws some portion of this liquidity and allocates it to you. So kind of an interaction in between three different networks. I easily can see that these things are going to appear and they're going to be developed because that's exactly how things are working in Web 2 space. Actually, probably not a lot of you know why Web 2 is Web 2. What the heck? Why everything started with Web 2? The answer is no. Everything started with Web 1.0. It just Web 2 came into place when people understood that the different applications in the internet are able to interact with each other. When the concept of application programming interface or APIs emerged, and then people started to experiment, allowing and creating APIs for their own applications, and these APIs to be called by third-party applications. This is why web was transitioning into Web 2.0. This idea of interconnected applications that are enriching each other. And this 2.0 part of it is exactly something that we're lacking in the disjointed world of multiple chains that we have in the blockchain vertical. So with Aurora cross-contract calls, we're bridging this gap and we're allowing Web3 to be Web3 2.0. Besides that, there was a launch of the new version of the Relayer or the RPC nodes. In general, there were quite a lot of changes inside of it, but for the end user and for the look and feel of the of anyone who is working with Aurora, Relayer become more reliable. It became much easier to work with. There is no retries that you need to do. It is much more stable, and it is able to mitigate the issues of the underlying pieces of tech that we are using, including, and for example, the second version of the Relayer showed extreme robustness at the moment when the near network was under load because of the inscriptions. So recently there was a big inscription protocol that was launched on Near, and it was causing a high load for Near network, and because of this, quite a lot of Near nodes were going down. though the network never halted. It withstand the load and everything was good. Now, there were zero Aurora transactions that were lost under this load because of the layer 2 implementation. There was an additional, and one of the pieces within this layer 2 part that was implemented is the mempool. So the transactions on Near protocol, they are usually created, sent to the RPC, and then the RPC is trying to put these transactions in the blockchain. There is no mempool that people are usually thinking of when they're dealing with Ethereum. And we've implemented this mempool specifically for Aurora, and now it is available for everybody. This is a hidden mempool, and it is not something that everybody is able to see. However, with this mempool and also with the integration of the service that is called Colibrio, what we are able to do is we are able to make sure that the that the bots that are sniping, or like the sniping bots that are trying to extract the value out of the transactions that the users are trying to perform, these bots are put in all of them in the kind of uniform market where they are able to compete with each other and offer, and in the auction style, pay back to the ecosystem money, and this money is delivered. At the moment, this money is just collected in the DAO account, but what we also can do is to transfer this money or the payment from the MEV bots back to the users. We are the first network who implemented this on the network level. This is a very that's an absolutely great technology, I would say. But obviously, we are going to feel more of this technology in use and more value conserved inside of the Aurora ecosystem during the bull markets when there are lots of trading activities, right? So since at this moment in time there are not a lot of trading activities, there are also not a lot of MEV bot activity. So yeah, there are not a lot of losses, I would say. But in general, this direction introduces just more conservation of the value inside of the ecosystem. There were quite a lot of releases of the engine itself, and we call the engine the Aurora smart contract. At some point in time, we stopped to highlight the engine releases on the weekly streams. It's just because, like, literally, if you will go to Aurora's Near GitHub account and go to Aurora Engine repo, you're going to see engine releases at most every 2 weeks. And but actually, they usually happen in at a much faster pace. I'm super pleased with the engine team and how they're performing at the moment, and all of the new things that they are incorporating in the engine. And I would like to just highlight one particular thing, which is the hash chain research. This is again not something that is viewed by the end users or even the developers, but rather this is something that is important for anyone who is running an RPC of Aurora, and mainly parties who run the Aurora RPC are exchanges, since they would like to have their own infrastructure. These are big partners, big applications that are working inside of Aurora. So for them, one of the issues was the syncing of the network. And that's a typical thing. If you would like to validate the whole blockchain, well, you need to execute all of the transactions, and that's how it works. However, the reality is that you're able to make it much better, and the easy solution, or kind of the mental model for it, can be the following. You can create a kind of a tree of hashes that you're able to validate using the crypto primitives, and just a copy of the state of the network that was produced not very far away from now. And then through the hashes, you're able to check whether the transitions were correct. And then from this last save point, you're actually able to execute all of the most recent transactions, which is a much lower amount of transactions than just the whole transactions of the network. And you're able to get to the correct state at this particular moment in time. So a hash chain research and the implementation of this functionality, what it delivered is that it decreased the time for syncing of the RPCs. It decreased the time that people need to spend on the maintenance of these RPCs. Everything around the RPCs with hash chain became much faster and cheaper, and the ones who are using and launching RPCs with Aurora, they really, really appreciate this. And though it is not that visible, and again, we're not highlighting this a lot. Besides that, we have also other initiatives. We were implementing the new security approach. Again, as you know, we are very, very much focused on the security. We rate security at the highest level, because from my point of view, the whole crypto is all about security, right? So the whole concept started because of the security, right? So we are executing right now. We are a step ahead of the market. We're executing new security approaches. We are working with refined bug bounty programs together with bug bounty platforms like Immunify or Hacking. We are shaping the way how the bug bounty programs should work. With some other partners like Audit One, we are the first in the crypto space to implement insurance to everybody on the upgrades. We are also working with insurance companies to make sure that the products that are launched by us or our partners, they are insured also, right? So there is quite a lot of innovation happening here, though it is not directly seen, right? All of this stuff is something that even increases the security of the solution and makes sure that even if the disaster is happening, then there is also, for example, an insurance, and people would be compensated for their losses. For the developers, we've launched the developer portal. This is one of the great places to visit in case you're a developer. So you're able to go to dev.aurora.dev, and you can find there quite a lot of different things. And first of all, it is the developer documentation about Aurora, about different things, different tools, and different how to use different tools on Aurora, how to set up your development environment, and which kind of SDKs you're able to use directly with it. Besides that, there is a dev blog there where the engineers of Aurora Labs are writing their articles. There are quite a lot of very great and very refined articles there about some specific tools and some specific features on how to use this. There are tons of information there, and you're able to, in case again you're techie, you're curious into tech, I really recommend you to follow the updates of this developer portal. And then there is also ecosystem news and ecosystem tools, the links to the ecosystem tools where you are able to use there. So this is a one-stop shop for developers. I highly encourage you to go, in case you're a developer, to go and take a look there. Again, it was launched this year. In May, I was initiating the proposal for the update of the Aurora token economy. It is a large proposal. It has multiple pieces in it. One part is the implementation of the Aurora token burn, and this mechanics is already implemented. So actually every single transaction that is executed within any of the Aurora products is burning Aurora tokens at the moment. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that there is a new, there is a, how to say, an infinitely extended staking rewards, and there is a pretty straightforward way how the staking rewards are working. So in general, there are 50 million Aurora tokens that are allocated to staking rewards, and they are working in a Bitcoin fashion of the exponentially decreasing rewards over time, up until the moment when there's no rewards, which is going to happen in pretty distant time from now. And the rewards are also halving in 2 years. However, this halving is happening not every 4 years with a major halving event, but instead there is a decrease of the rewards that is happening every quarter. So every 3 months there is a decreased amount of the rewards over time. So these staking rewards they are focused on incentivizing the early adopters of the protocol, making sure that they are getting they are able to get more benefits. But also there is one additional thing, which is the VE token economy for the further decentralization of the governance of the protocol. And this is something that is not yet implemented. However, I'm looking forward to doing this in the upcoming year. There was a liquid staking primitive that was launched by our partners from Mpool. So now, in case you're willing to stake Aurora tokens and still be able to use this liquidity in a way, for example, for some DeFi applications, now you are able to do this, and this is again something new, something that was delivered during this year. Again, you are able to go to Mpool website and check out the ST hour there. And last but not least, Aurora folks, quite a lot of people from the Aurora community are participating in the NDC, Near Digital Collective, the decentralized governance initiative from the Near protocol. And I believe that Aurora has a very big representation, or an Aurora ecosystem has a large representation in the NDC, and in some way, Aurora is able to influence the direction of the NDC. There were quite a lot of partnerships this year, and but just the most recent ones, I would say, are on this slide. So in November, we've integrated with Layer 0, which is one of the core technologies for cross-interacting of the different blockchains. I was talking about cross-contract calls, but obviously cross-contract calls are working only in between between Aurora networks. So Layer 0 allows you to have a similar functionality, though they're more trusted, in a more trusted setup, I would say, in between other networks too. So through Layer 0, Aurora applications are able to connect to many different EVM compatible networks, and that's great. Our big partners from Power Gold, maybe this is not something that is known to you, but they are a very big green energy company that is working for approximately 20 years already, and they are managing green energy solutions. They are one of the examples of the Web 2 businesses that are transitioning into Web 3 using Aurora Cloud. So I encourage you to take a look at their website, powergold.tech. What they offer is to invest for everybody into the renewable energy without insane amount of money, and that is usually something that you expect to see in the traditional businesses. So there are quite a lot of different things that they are doing, and then they are just at the start of their journey. They have been an incredible partner for us, and yeah, they were interested in the Aurora Cloud already from the very inception of the Aurora Cloud tech. And then obviously I cannot mention Pipeflare, the flagship of the gaming products on Aurora, one of the most used or the most used protocol on Aurora at the moment. So the guys are making quite a lot of waves, I would say, in the ecosystem and creating quite a lot of transactions and just in general executing pretty good. So in case you are looking for some gaming on Aurora, go and check out Pipeflare. But besides that, there are tons of other integrations, right? It's not iterations, it's integrations. Sorry for this. Here wallet, one of the best wallets in the Aurora, in the Near ecosystem, also integrated with Aurora. So their fancy old style interface, looking pretty good and now works with Aurora. Scamfari, the solution to make sure that users are able to report some scam activity on the blockchain, has integrated with Aurora. Gate.io listed Aurora directly from the Aurora from the deposits of Aurora token directly from the Aurora network. And there are many different stuff. B4B being a place for making your marketing with blockchain influencers. And this funny smiling face in the document says the project that is called Fileverse. Just in principle, they are making Dropbox and also DocuSign, some all of this stuff. They're packaging it and they're putting it on the blockchain. And also they are doing a little bit of oh my God, how it is called? The the whiteboarding, some of the whiteboarding applications. So the guys are very prominent and they're delivering quite a lot of great things for great value for the end users. There are many things that are happening there, and all of this was happening in this year of the bear market and the year of building different things. We've been presented on many different events within this year. Mainly, these events were focused on the development and the product side, side. So East Denver is one of the biggest developer conferences there. Consensus, more of a business oriented. Block Split, just a gigantic Europe event, blockchain event. We did the Encode Aurora Hackathon. That went pretty well. Quite a lot of participation from the developer community there. We were presented in ECL, ECC, and obviously NearCon that was just happening in November. There are a number of events that are not mentioned here that were focused on the Web2 businesses adoption. So we were on some fintech events around the world. But maybe this is a little bit less relevant for kind of crypto presentation, I'd say. Now, and I know that you're already tired a little bit, right? So let's transition to what is coming, right? What are the things that we are focusing on right now? And let me do some alpha leaks and unveil some of the things that we are working on. So the first and foremost is something that we gathered from the first partners within the Aurora Cloud. These companies are saying that they even would like to protect users even more, the end users who are using their blockchain solutions. And the reason for this is pretty straightforward. They see that blockchain developed its image as a place where, fraudsters and hacksters are operating. So they're pretty much concerned about all of these bad guys tricking out the end users that might not be that profound in the blockchain tech. And in case there is something that we can offer to them, they will be happily consuming this offer. And we've composed all of our ideas around this additional protection in a new thing that is called Aurora Shield. This is going to become one tool inside of the Aurora Cloud product. It is going to be applied to all of the existing users of Aurora. It is going to be available for everybody. And the idea of this tool is the following. At the moment when the user is executing the transaction and is sending this transaction to the network, we have this thing that stands in between the user and the blockchain, which is called an RPC. It's a fancy name for just a server that accepts the transaction and then forwards this transaction into the network. Everything in the blockchain in particular is working through the RPCs. And within this RPC, what this RPC is able to do, it is able to analyze the transaction. It is able at this point in time to understand what will be the consequences of the executing of this transaction. And in case these consequences are becoming a big outlier of what user is usually doing. So for example, I'm usually trading the volumes of around $10, and now suddenly, because of some strange reason, which RPC obviously doesn't know, but I'm transferring all of my assets to an account that is associated with the fraudulent activity. What's the reason for this? Maybe this is intentional. Maybe I am the fraudster, right? So this is what I'm doing. But it seems like this is a very strange transaction. It seems like the user is tricked into some kind of hacking scheme, and perhaps it will be nice not to forward this transaction into the network. And this is what Aurora Shield is about. This is the piece of software that is working on the level of the RPCs, that is analyzing user transactions, analyzing the behavior of user. People, it's super fashionable now to say AI and all of the stuff, but this is a little bit of AI here indeed. But not a lot, right? It's not a chat GPT that is working there, right? So it's just the analysis of the transactions, right? So this piece of software is analyzing the transaction and is marking the transaction with a risk ratio or a risk score. And in case the risk score is high, this transaction is stopped from executing, and there is a warning that is sent to the wallet of the user. And in case the risk score is high but not extremely high, what the user is able to do is click a link on this warning, go to the Aurora Explorer, and the user will see there that this transaction failed. And if the user wants, actually, this is an intentional move because the system potentially may not understand what user is doing. Well, the user, what is able to do is just to click one button just to confirm that, yes, I indeed would like to execute this transaction. I know what I'm doing. Please let it in the chain. And then with just one click of a button, there is no signing of another transaction. Nothing needs to be done. With just with one click, the double check click, the transaction gets executed. And in case the Aurora Shield believes that this is with a high percentage or the super high probability, this is a fraudulent transaction. For example, a person was caught with a $5 wrench attack, and somebody is trying to steal all of the money of the user. What the RPC is going to do is going to block the user account or freeze the user account until the moment in time the user is contacting the RPC operator to unlock or unfreeze his account by confirming the identity. So this is an automatic protection system from all of the fraudulent activities. And it is also pretty versatile, and users would be able to determine the limits and determine kind of which transactions are should be treated as fraudulent and what should not be treated as fraudulent. I'm super excited about this piece of technology. From one side, this doesn't sound like a major thing. However, from the stability, from the perspective of the conservative people of the world who are taking care of conserving their value, who are taking care of making sure that they are not losing their money, this is an extremely important piece that unfortunately is not available for blockchain technology and blockchain vertical at the moment. We're super happy to innovate with this solution, and like I really like it, and this is exactly the thing that is required for the adoption of the blockchain technology by Web2 businesses. Besides that, we are working and we are starting to work on VE token economy governance. This is something that was again proposed in May last year, but we just didn't have the time to implement this. And there is a whole concept of it. Like in short, what it means, VE stands for voted escrow. It's kind of a little bit of a strange naming of the thing. However, the way how it works is the following. If you remember, 200 million of Aurora tokens are allocated to the community treasury. And within the community treasury, there are 0 Aurora tokens that are spent from it at the moment. Just because there is no mechanism for the community to vote on where should these tokens be spent. So this VE token economy governance is exactly about it. So it is going to work the following way. Aurora token holders are staking their Aurora tokens. And what they also need to do in order to participate in this governance, they need to lock these staked tokens for a substantial period of time. Like usually how it works in other VE token economies is it's up to 4 years. And this lock-in means that the user is not able to withdraw their assets from this token for this period of time. So, and in case user is staking and locking this staked, so this stake, so he's still getting the revenue or still getting the staking rewards. However, he's not just able to withdraw the amount of tokens that were staked. So the user is getting staking rewards. Now what he's able to do is to participate in this governance. And this governance is implemented the following way. The community treasury streams some stream of Aurora tokens somewhere. There is a constant stream. You can think of it as just a gigantic tube with Aurora tokens coming through it. And what people who have staked and locked their Aurora tokens are able to do, they are able to direct this stream into different applications and different initiatives. So imagine that I'm staking and locking my Aurora tokens. Now I have some kind of voting power around the directing of this stream. And let's say I'm able to direct 1% of the stream towards the goals that I believe are the proper ones for the growth of the Aurora economy. And where to find this set of different goals and set of initiatives? Well, obviously on the governance forum. So anyone who is willing to get additional funding for their initiatives, this can be any type of initiatives. This can be building new thing, implementing some kind of public good for Aurora, or for example, having a liquidity LP reward system or farming incentives within the existing Tree Solaris or whatever other AMM is there. So there is a specific initiative, there is a specific address for this initiative, and anyone who is interested in allocating funding towards this initiative is able to vote for this initiative. There is a set of open questions around the token economy, how to implement some of these certain things. However, this approach has proven to be the most robust and the most engaging for the community governance in all of the blockchain vertical. And this is something that we are not innovating here. The first protocol who implemented this is Curve. However, their use case is much more narrow, because the only direction where you are able to send Curve rewards is specific farming incentives within specific Curve pools, right? So for Aurora, the task is bigger, and this opens this additional questions that I was referring to. So this is obviously a direction into the decentralized governance. We are committed to decentralize the governance over the Aurora protocol. And this is the most important thing that should happen around it in the coming year. Besides that, we have a couple of projects with the Near protocol, and as you know, we're pretty close with Near engineers, and we are working side by side with them. So first thing is the Web3 wallet support for the Near protocol. And though it is this project, literally what it means, the deliverable here is super simple. Any MetaMask or Wallet Connect wallet would be able to connect to Near and execute transactions on the Near protocol. And obviously the question is how Aurora is connected to it. Well, the answer is that quite a lot of tech of Aurora is going to be used within this connection. And what it brings to Aurora economy is that, as you remember from the Aurora economy update, is that any tech of Aurora being used is generating more Aurora tokens that are burned, right? So there is this direct connection, but besides that, there is even an increasing opportunity for people who are working with Near protocol with the ideas of chain abstraction that Near is bringing to the table, to work through Near with any other networks that are out there, right? So, and with this thing, with this particular piece, obviously Aurora Labs engineers being the most well positioned in the ecosystem to be able to deliver this functionality, and since it is going to bring better with quite a lot of benefits for the Aurora community, is just the right thing to do. And separate RPC speedup project. This is a project that is, again, it's not a fancy name. Sorry, this is all engineers who are naming these things, including myself. But the idea of this is right in the name of the project. So the simple thing there is that the Near's RPC that influencing the speed of the transaction of execution on Aurora Network 2, it can be upgraded. So the current observed end-to-end transaction execution speed for Near protocol, and this is true also for Aurora transactions, is approximately 4.9 seconds. It is quite fast. It is much faster than Ethereum, but it is not that interacting in the world of the mobile applications where you're just looking at something and the transaction is done, right? Or the authorization is done. The increase of the interactivity of the blockchain, the decrease of the time in between the desire of the end user to do an action and this action being completed is a crucial thing. And the lower is the time of wait in between the start of an action and its finalization, the better all of the applications and everything around this ecosystem is going to feel. So we have a way how to, obviously we are not able to speed things up infinitely. Near blocks are created every second. We are not able to make transaction executed faster than that. That's simple. However, we would be able to share approximately 2 seconds of the time and bring the transaction execution time from 4.9 to 2.9 seconds in the mean. And this is actually quite a major improvement. This is like a 40% improvement. This is not what you usually get in with a very robust and very well developed product. But again, knowing quite a lot about the RPCs because of these protocol level meta transactions, gasless transactions, we know how to do it, and we are working on this project for the benefit both near and Aurora ecosystems. And there are lots of additional initiatives that are on the early stage at the moment. We're doing quite a lot of research because, as you have probably seen here, what I was referring on the near con, and I was referring to the quote from Peter Drucker, innovate or die, right? So you need to innovate in order to, and you need to deliver more and more things in order just to stay alive. So we are working on these initiatives. There are some very prominent ones. I'm just not yet ready to share all of this information with you. However, again, Aurora Labs is the engineering force behind building the core pieces of the tech, but it is not the whole Aurora. Aurora is all of us here. It is the whole community. And in case you have your ideas what needs to be implemented, well, first of all, you're able to do this. Again, this is an open protocol. This is the beauty of the blockchain. But also, what you're able to do is to come to us. I was recently posting this question to Twitter. What do you think we are lacking? What do you think we can innovate in? And what do you think we can bring to the market? We have our own thoughts, but maybe we're missing something. This is an open conversation, and I'm happily going to reveal more information about the things that we are working on once they are going to become more stable, and we will make sure that this is going to bring great benefits to the Aurora community, like Aurora Shield will. But you also can come to us, and I really appreciate the feedback that many people are given to me, and in general to maybe some to some other people in the Aurora Labs, that we should be focusing on this or that, or there is this idea, let's do this together and stuff like that. So please be active in case you believe that something needs to be done. Propose this at least, or I mean, you can just say, you just can come and say, look, I'm going to do this stuff because I believe it is good. What do you think? Let's make this a discussion because Aurora is something that we are shaping together, all together, and this is what we are here for. With that, I'm wishing all of you the happy new year, and I'm pretty sure that the next year is going to be much better than the previous one. Almost everything is saying that that things are going to be much better. But as you were able to see from this presentation, this wrap up of the previous year, things for Aurora were not that grim, and actually they were pretty positive. So I'm wondering what is going to happen in the next year. And now with that, I'm not saying goodbye to you because there are quite a lot of different messages that were popping up on my right-hand side. And I'm going to stop sharing my screen and just go into all of these questions that you have been asking, and try to answer all of these things. And sorry for not being answering these questions on the go. It's just it will be hard for me to maintain the speed and the focus here. But let's do this. Okay, Aurora will be next Solana. This is outside of my core core competences. Is Aurora hiring software engineers? Yes, user one is asking this stuff. What you're able to do is to go to auroralabs.dev. This is the Aurora Labs company website. You're able to see all of the open positions. As far as I understand, there is a Rust, there is a software engineer Rust position that is open, and most probably there is also a Go position that is open. But the most recent information is located at auroralabs.dev. When can we see some institutional partnerships? Abdul Rahman is asking. These are in works, actually. So there are quite a lot of. Let me. Okay, let me reveal a little bit of the partnerships that we are working on with Aurora Cloud, right? So there is a top tier payment company that we are currently negotiating with, and we are working on Aurora Cloud implementation. And that's the first one. There is a top tier, to say, technology company. Let me put it that way, right? So this is like one of the top 20 companies in the world in terms of the capitalization and all of the stuff. They are also interested in Aurora Cloud, so we are working with them. They have some specific use cases that should be implemented, and there is a top tier telco company that we are working with. This is on the B2B side, right? But these companies again, these institutional partnerships. Uh, like from my point of view, this is just the means for new exciting use cases to be available for the Aurora ecosystem and for the Aurora users. That's the core piece. Like, and this is just some of the partnerships that we're working on here. Again, uh, the reason why these partnerships and the reason why these negotiations are in place is because I do believe that Web3 is not going to ruin and burn it down, the Web 2, but instead it is going to help it transition into a more open setup. What will be top priorities of 2024? Sauer is asking. So yeah, I was talking about this stuff. Okay, Mr. Availability is asking how is the next year plans and listing. Now, obviously, Aurora Labs and kind of nobody is responsible for listing of Aurora tokens on exchanges, except for exchanges themselves, right? So I'm not able to make a decision to list Aurora somewhere, right? But what we are able to do is to present the unbiased information to the exchanges about the token, provide to the exchanges APIs through which they are able to understand, for example, the circulating supply, some additional information about the unlocks of the token, about the invest rounds in the token, stuff like that. So I can tell you that within the previous couple of months, there is an increased number of requests from the top exchanges, the ones where Aurora is not yet listed. And we are providing the information to these exchanges according with their requests, right? Once again, please understand this correctly. I'm not telling that exchanges are going to that some particular exchanges, and as you can see, I'm not even mentioning the names of the exchanges. What I'm saying to you here is that there is an increased interest and we are providing this information. The decision on the listing of the Aurora token will always be in the hands of the exchanges, and this is something that we are compliant with, and this is how the regulated markets are working, because exchanges, they are having they are owning these risks of the tokens, right? So please understand this correctly. Okay, Vikash is saying happy holidays. Happy holidays to you, Vikash. Yeah. Michael is saying with Aurora Cloud, would it be possible to partner with a Web3 decentralized cloud? This is important because currently almost all nodes are hosted on Amazon or Web2 centralized. So I would kind of shift a little bit the thinking about Aurora Cloud, or like give an additional perspective on the Aurora Cloud. Aurora Cloud is a Web3 decentralized cloud, right? And the angle that I'm looking at is the following. What centralized or Web2 cloud like Amazon is the core of their product is that they are selling to you hassle-free compute. Like you're coming to some kind of website, you're clicking, you're adding somewhere your bank details or bank card stuff. You're clicking some buttons, and then you get in a server, which what delivers to you is compute, but it is centralized. This is a centralized compute with its own limitations. Now, what Aurora Cloud gives to the users, to the businesses who is buying it, right, is an ability to have the same hassle-free but decentralized computing. So you're coming to the Aurora Cloud website, you're launching your Aurora Cloud console, you're getting all of the information around your compute, which is happening in a decentralized setup. That's one of the core reasons why Aurora Cloud is called Aurora Cloud. So it is not running on some kind of servers. It is not running. It is running on top of the Near blockchain, right? It's running on top of the Aurora technology stack. There are many computers that are powering this technology, but the end product here is the decentralized compute that is sold to the customers. Daniel is asking, is Bastion BSTN still alive? Lack of news since ages. Daniel, so the last big news from Bastion was that they are merging with Origami. And there was, in case you're a holder of Bastion token, there was a exchange scheme, how to exchange it into the Origami tokens. I'm not sure whether it is still available, but this is the input that you should look for. Just try to Google Bastion and Origami. There was a merge happening some time ago. It would be great. Breezy Monk is asking, it would be great to see stake coins in the Aurora Pass. Yeah, for sure. The thing that I was not mentioning is improving the whole product line that we have, right? So this is by default. So we are taking all of the feedback provided by the users of different applications that are launched. And many people are saying it will be pretty nice to be able to stake Aurora tokens directly in Aurora Pass. Yes, it makes sense. It will be pretty nice to be able to swap and have kind of Aurora Plus functionality overall in Aurora Pass. Yeah, we understand that. There are some limitations that Apple and Google are imposing into the things that can be put inside of the applications in their stores. But we are trying to improve Aurora Pass even more. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, people believe in Aurora and believe in Shih Tzu, which is great. Maxim is saying Aurora Shield very interesting. Yeah, but I'm super hype about this stuff. Michael Pope is asking, is the Aurora app not yet available? I downloaded it just now, and although it was able to download it, I can't seem to use it. Not able to sign in via Google and can't see my private public keys. So maybe there is some kind of issue that you're facing, but in general, Aurora Pass is available. I can open you mine. So I have the Aurora. This is my Aurora. This is my Aurora Pass. And in case you're willing to take a look at your account and your keys, since this is again the application is designed for for the users who are for the Web2 users. But if you're willing to get more information about your keys, which are stored in your secure chip inside of your phone, you need to go to the right-hand side, the this button of your account, and then there you need to click the button Backup Wallet, and then the guide is going to guide you through the setup, and this is something that is going to give you the recovery phrase. So this is the first thing. But in case you're willing to just to see your address, what you're able to click in the Aurora Pass is just on the button Receive, and then what you're going to see is the QR code and also the address here, and this is the address of your wallet, where people are usually transferring your money to you. In case you're not able to log in or not able to see all the stuff, just write to the support channel. You can use for support channel, and this is a nice place where to direct people to. So you're able to go to aurora.dev, which is the Aurora Ecosystem website. There is on the bottom right-hand side, there is a green question mark. You can click there and write just your support question. Our support team is going through this very fast and trying to understand what is happening there and helping out everybody. Besides that, you're able to go to the official Discord channel and the official Telegram channel. And in Telegram, it is Aurora is near. That's the only official Aurora Telegram channel. So please go there, and there are people who would be able to help you and support you. Okay. Any chance of Aurora bridging or partnership with Solana? Motor de Busca is asking. That's an interesting question. Actually, I have some thoughts about Solana stack and things that are not yet there. But I cannot say that this is something that these are just theories, I would say. We don't have a direct open channel and open conversation with Solana, I would say. There are quite a lot of conversations that we are having with people who are much closer to the Ethereum ecosystem. We have open conversations with Polygon, with Eigenlayer, with many other projects, big projects in the Ethereum ecosystem. And Solana was always positioning themselves a little bit separate. But I do believe that there are at least some angles that can be attacked. Because again, from my point of view, maybe it is a little bit of naive angle, but in my point of view, it's not Web3 protocols against each other. There is no point in making this war or having this war. It is us, Web3, against the centralized setup of the world that we have at the moment. What we are trying to do, everybody here, we are trying to make things better and try to transform the Web2 businesses and make sure that they are better businesses and there is much more value and much more control in the hands of the end users instead of some businesses that are extracting this value. So pretty sure that there are some angles with Solana and there are some ideas. They have interesting pieces of their stack. I'm not a big fan of all of the solution. I do believe that some of the pieces are. Let me put it straightforward. I do not believe that their approach to scalability of the blockchains is sustainable in the long term. So I'm pro near approach, which is a sharded asynchronous approach. This is what I believe is a proper thing to do. Anyway, they are doing quite a lot of innovations in other places. So and again, as I said, it's not Aurora against Solana. It is us together, me and Anatoly, fighting against all of these corporates that are making the end users poor. Okay. Michael is saying, yes, I know Fileverse. I have used it for more than a year. Awesome project. That's absolutely great. Hopefully, Fileverse guys are hearing this feedback. Super nice application. Yeah. Okay, Alberto, and I've seen these type of questions, right? And as I said, I'm all into answering all of these things. What about Aurobots? The first NFTs for Aurora Plus. They were in endemic and a while ago they were delisted and they have disappeared. Is there any plan to recover them and give them real use? So indeed, Aurobots was the NFT collection. You can see, as you can see, one here. So the Aurobots was the collection that was launched, and the idea behind it was that and it was randomly dropped, right? So there is no sale of Autobots. The only way how you are able to get were able to get Autobots as the first owner is to win in a raffle, literally. Um, and the uh, and the Autobots a special feature was that it was increasing the amount of free transactions for you in the Aurora Plus when it was first launched 1.5 years ago. So I do believe that back then Ouroboros were showing a great use case for everybody. That NFTs can be something more than just images, I would say. There are constant talks in the Aurora Pass team in how to about returning the Ourobots, right? By now, there were no time to make sure that the Ourobots are returned, right? But I can tell you, and there is no specific plan how this can be done right now, right? I cannot say that, we have a roadmap and then in 2 months our robots are going to be visible in Aurora Pass and this is the benefits that they're going to bring. Unfortunately not. At the moment there is no this thing. However, the talks about robots are there as long and together with robots about all of the other NFTs that are in the Aurora ecosystem. So I'm pretty sure that within the next few updates of the Aurora Pass, there will be a kind of reinstallment of the Aurobots and maybe even some new functionalities for the owners of Aurobots are going to be added. From my point of view, it's just a great demonstration of the tech and how this can be done, especially taking into account all of these new cool things about the Aurora Shield and these meta transactions and ability to very finely tune the free transaction stuff as we did before. Like this functionality is there. It is used by Aurora Cloud. It is used by all of the different products there. So there is no problem in applying it to Aurora bots within the Aurora Pass, for example. But the question is bigger, right? So it's not only Aurora bots, right? We need to make sure that Autobots is a very small collection. It's just like 100 people who owns Autobots. I don't own an Autobot actually. So, um, so, so yeah, it's just more of the question of the generic NFT applications. So yeah, this is the answer to everybody. The Aurora Pass team specifically is having discussions about how to make sure that NFTs are more visible to everybody. Okay, Alif is saying we want Aurora giveaway. Oh, me too. Do you know one? Okay, Alif is saying continues. Too many projects promise magic but never release any working product or prove any revenue profitable ecosystem within a short long time of release. Is Aurora also committed with these points? Well, um, I'm not quite sure what you mean by this. So if you're talking about Aurora Labs releasing some things and making things working, that hopefully I was able to give you some references, so you're able to go and try out some different things uh, that were built by Aurora Labs and in general inside of the Aurora ecosystem. And hopefully uh, this is not the problem that you have with the Aurora itself. But if you're talking about some of the projects that are working inside of the Aurora ecosystem, right, which is open and anyone is able to do some things there, then I can tell you that yes, indeed, in last year, in the beginning of the year, there was a grant program for projects who were coming to us and asking for some funding to develop some features, develop their protocol, and launch on Aurora. Unfortunately, or fortunately or unfortunately, like the results of this program are mixed, right? So there are projects who delivered very well. B4B is one of the projects from this program. I'm not sure, but maybe Fileverse was also a participant in this program. There are some other projects who were participating and delivering great working products for the whole of Aurora ecosystem. However, there was a big chunk of projects who were not even releasing the working version of their solution, and as soon as it was understood that they are not doing this, obviously the funding to these projects was finished. It's like just a standard thing when people see money, they would like to grab it and do nothing with it, right? So over time, more and more security measures around this were imposed. During the whole existence of the grants program, there was a KYC requirement for anyone who is applying for the grant in Aurora. And we are constantly improving the process here. Now, at this particular moment in time, the grant program is not working. The overall impression of the grants program is that it is not incentivizing the proper type of people to come to the ecosystem. And unfortunately, it is more value that is vanishing from the ecosystem than it is brought. However, in case, for example, you have any particular projects that are willing to work and they have their own ideas and they need some support, whether it is monetary or maybe they need to support to connect with investors or maybe marketing support or any other things, what we are able to do is to talk and to work with them directly, not within the grant program, but rather within a natural partnership that can be established in between Aurora Labs and the Aurora ecosystem and this company. But also, please do not make sure that that everybody is understanding this correctly, right? Aurora Labs is just one of the participants of the Aurora ecosystem. There are tons of other people in the Aurora ecosystem, and when we are doing Friday Alpha Leaks, we are scanning for all of the different things that are happening in the Aurora ecosystem. And for example, the recent partnerships in between Origami and Trisolaris, in between Trisolaris and Metapool, all of this stuff happening without us even knowing about it, right? So that's the beauty of the decentralization. People who are uh, interested in moving forward and developing their own products, they are doing this because they have their own interest, and that's how things are working. But again, Alif, if you have projects who are willing to come and they need to talk with somebody, at least they can start talking with us, and we will be able to guide them through. Okay, Senti is saying, my Aurora are on the blockchain. I send them to BitGet exchange. They can't credit my account. They told me that they are waiting to add Aurora Network. Yeah, Senti, this is the exact thing that I was saying about. Please make sure that you are using the correct network, right? So BitGet, as far as I understand, they have not allowed the deposits and withdrawals of Aurora token directly from the Aurora network, but they only support the Ethereum network. So please always, my recommendation to everybody, before sending all of your tokens on any network, when you are interacting with any service, please make test transactions. So send one Aurora, see whether this one Aurora is credited in your exchange, or for example, whether it is arrived to your end wallet, and then and in case everything is good, then transfer the rest, right? Please be reasonable. Please double check everything. It is like one mistake, and in case you're not careful, you can lose a substantial amount of money, and you don't need this. We don't need this, and nobody wants to have it, right? So please be careful. Yeah, and Ram is saying that you can use Rainbow Bridge for this. Yes, indeed, it is. Okay, Ian is saying Happy New Year to everybody. Okay. Yeah, Ram is saying, besides the tech side, what is the adoption plan for marketing for 2024? This is a great question. So obviously in the bear market, all of the marketing activities are kind of pretty useless, I would say. They instead of bringing they are not bringing kind of returns, right? But we have quite like our current or like my current, let's put it that way, my current view on the following year, that we're going to see the uptick in the overall activity within the crypto vertical, and I believe that that there will be more capital inflow in the blockchain. Again, this is my belief, but we are completely ready for this from the standpoint of the marketing initiatives. We were trying out different partnerships within the previous year. We have been trying with different marketing agencies. We have been working with multiple market makers, and we've gathered quite a lot of knowledge and experience from working with these participants in the market. And we understand now kind of more and more of how these actors are working, right? And the benefit of this is that now we are able to speak with them the same language, and understand what they want, and what is their ordinary mode of operations, and what is interesting, what is not. We also have been working through understanding on through the crypto narratives. I would say the emergence of the L2 crypto narrative that was mainly dominating this year. We were anticipating it, 2 months before it actually started. So we were already anticipating it in middle spring of this year. We also have some anticipation for the next big narratives, and we're starting to prepare for this and execute. Obviously, I'm sorry, it would be pretty hard to compete in the L2 narrative, or like in the ordinary L2 narrative. But there are some other narratives that are out there where the positioning of Aurora can be much better. I'm sorry, my cat always comes when I'm on some kind of call. Does anyone thought ever about creating a cat meme token? Just as an idea. Okay, so Ram, answering your question, there is actually a large chunk of budget allocated to the adoption plan or the marketing plan for 2024. It is multiple times bigger than the budget that was allocated into these activities in 2023. And we're following this stuff and taking into account all of the experience that we've gathered. I think what we would be able to execute on this is quite a lot of things and achieve much better results. Uh, we are thinking about, but just to give you a little bit of sense here, uh, we are thinking about the marketing from the three specific angles, right? So the first one is visibility of the project, which is it is all about people understanding that things are happening. There are some cool technologies, and just make sure that people know about stuff that is happening, right? So this is the visibility part. There is a second part, which is the accessibility. And it is different from the visibility. And this is about the onboarding journey. And even in case the user is already onboarded, to try it once again, execute his actions as fast as possible. And because of this, because in this category, what falls in the accessibility category is, for example, this RPC speed up project, because it's all about making things more accessible. The Aurora Pass, it's all about making things more accessible, right? So this is the second part here, right? And then you can think of, for example, the activities when we are providing information to the exchanges, also accessibility, right? To make sure that exchanges know everything, so they are able to list Aurora tokens, which in turn increase the accessibility of the one particular thing of the Aurora ecosystem, which is the Aurora token, to some new markets, right? And then maybe some specific Cambodian exchange is listing Aurora token, and now Cambodian people are able to access the Aurora token. And that's the activity within the accessibility vertical. And then there is the last piece, which is the retention, right? So once the tech and once everything that is done in the Aurora vertical is visible, so once the attention is grabbed, once the user got the access to it, and he is able to experience this tech or investment or whatever inside of the Aurora ecosystem. So once it is there, now the question is how to retain the user, how to make sure that he continues his journey, how to make sure that his feedback is incorporated, how to make sure that he is able to influence the direction of the development, right? So, for example, VE token economy and the decentralized governance initiatives, they are all fallen in this vertical, in this kind of part. So this is our mind model for these pieces, right? This is how we're thinking of it. That there are these three particular pieces, and the activities around it and the activities around the marketing are going to fit in one of these three particular pieces. Okay, Ram, thanks for asking this question. When I was thinking about this stream, I thought to talk at least through this, but forgot, and that's great that you are here. Silent Yacht, nice to see you here. What are your views on real-world asset tokenization using NFTs on Aurora? I do believe that real-world asset tokenization is in general a very straightforward thing to do. NFTs, not NFTs, and the way how you're implementing this is a very secondary question, but it just makes sense to tokenize real world assets to make them much more manageable, and much more liquid and much more capital efficient, I would say. In general, yes. It seems like what you're doing is also interesting. Happy to continue our conversations in Twitter. Trader Joel, where do you see Aurora at the end of 2024? Any plans to be more visible to people in the space, for example, Binance list and market, and any plans to incentivize more staking of Aurora besides APR? This is what I was, hopefully I was able to answer this question before when I was answering the question of RAM. I when I'm thinking about Aurora, obviously, uh, what we would try to do is to get a bigger percentage of the mind share of people. I do believe that, and many people are like the pretty often sentiment that I feel from people who understand the project and who are kind of commenting in Twitter and different places, and they're coming to me on some conferences. They're saying, "Hey, Alex, what you guys are building is pretty great. The tech is great. Like I've tried it, or I haven't tried it, but the concept is correct, right? And it feels good. But then it feels that there is not enough visibility." And this is exactly the thing that we are trying to attack in the following year. I do believe that Aurora achieved quite a lot of milestones. It achieved quite a lot of high quality results over its almost 3 years of existence or 3 years of development. And from that standpoint, we're still here. We are not scammers, uh, or the team of engineers with whom I'm working. We're all focused on the technology and making sure that we are bringing innovation into the blockchain world. Um, and uh, uh, and and yes, kind of this focus is maintained. But besides that, it is also super important to make the project visible, and these marketing initiatives for increasing the visibility are now set in place and are going to be executed in order to bring more eyes to the project, to make sure that more people know about these cool things and about the thoughts that we have in our heads. But again, just continuously reminding everybody, please don't look at Aurora Labs as the only participant in the Aurora ecosystem, right? We're just one of many. There are many people who are innovating in the Aurora ecosystem, and that's absolutely great to see. Okay. Melon is asking the question, do you have plan to Aurora become an independent chain in the future? Aurora itself is kind of an independent chain. So Aurora Network, it feels and looks like an independent network. Now, some of the Aurora Cloud customers and partners, they are saying that we don't want to deploy on the public near network because of some limitations of the uh, because of some limitations of uh, of the compliance. So they are not able to put the data, for example, of their clients, of their users on the public network. So what they are doing is they are asking us to launch a private Aurora instance. So how it is done, there are some servers on which the private near network is launched. On top of the servers, Aurora is launched at, and then the RPCs and all of this fancy stuff, Aurora Shield, So there are tons of stuff that is launched, but the core thing is that it is not located at the same network, which is the public near network, right? It is located on the private setup. And from that standpoint of view, there are already deployments that are working in that way. So I would tell that, Aurora is it's not a single network at this moment in time. Aurora is a set of technologies that allows you to have many different networks, right? And these technologies are also allow you to interconnect all of these networks. There is Aurora mainnet. It was the first thing that was launched, and it is existing right now as a public open network, and it operates pretty independently. Yes, it uses some pieces of this near stack to operate, and it is great because of this. There is no need for Aurora engineers to implement the whole stack, right? It's the same way how we are using Rust programming language in order to write our smart contracts, and we are not designing our own programming language and the compiler for it, right? So we're just using the best things, the best tools that we have in order to do this. But at the moment, the questions about, for example, migrating Aurora mainnet to a separate network, they are not in place. There are no such discussions, if this is what you want to know, right? But I easily imagine that since Solana was mentioned, I easily can imagine something like the following: Aurora partnering with Solana, creating let me be bold here, creating a much better version of Neon EVM and launching it on a separate network that is not Solana, which is, by the way, do you know that Neon is not Solana, right? It's just, a separate thing, but okay, it doesn't matter. But like creating a separate network that is using the combination of Aurora technology and which is, there is some RPC and, all of these different things. Then there is a near layer. Then there is also, we can pull in Solana stuff. And then this is a new network that is named somehow, and it is launched as a big partnership. I can easily imagine this thing happening. And unfortunately, everything that I was saying here, right, is just a mind experiment, right? So it's not something that is going to happen or is planned to happen, right? So please understand that correctly. Okay. All the best. Is there any place to see which exchanges that had Aurora Network working for withdrawal and deposits? Fernando is asking. That's a good question. As far as I understand, no. So if you will go to CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, you're going to see all of the exchanges where Aurora is traded. But unfortunately, they are not having this detailed information about which network they have listed. To my best knowledge, Gate.io and Huobi do have the integration with Aurora Network directly. Maybe some other exchanges also have this integration, but again, take into account that it is exchanges who are making the decisions on the integrations. They can update this stuff. So please consult individually with the exchanges. Unfortunately, I cannot offer you anything best than that. Ramazan, thanks for the explanation. Could you provide a list of exchanges in the Aurora website? Fernando, it actually makes sense. Why not? Taking this as a feedback, it kind of makes sense to put a list of exchanges in case nobody is providing the information about which where tokens are listed and which networks they support for deposits and withdrawals. Maybe we just need to collect all of this information and just put it in some place and then just give this as a link to everybody. And moreover, this can be an open repo So we can give an opportunity for exchanges just to push updates there also. And then this is going to be updated and going to be a public knowledge to everybody. Yeah, why not? It's a decent idea. Thanks, Fernando, for the idea. Michael is saying, my Discord handle is Aurora. That's great. I worked as a researcher and BD in Web3 for several years. Almost every project I spoke to in Discord asked if I worked for Aurora. They all wanted to partner with Aurora. There's huge potential. And I spoke with many great projects CEOs. Well, Michael, super nice. Um, Sadly, I had to tell people I didn't work at Aurora. I even thought of changing my name because it happens so often. If you want help partnering with new upcoming projects, that could probably help. Yeah, absolutely. Why not? Like in case they are writing to you, you can forward to us. Um, um, I just checked. It seems that KuCoin and had Aurora integration. Yes, yes, they have Aurora integration. Yeah. Okay. So it seems like that's it. That's all of the questions. There is indeed the exchanges. There is indeed the exchanges networking. There is category exchanges in the ecosystem or the dev/ecosystem. However, there is no indication which exchanges have listed the Aurora network. But maybe we can just work on this particular page in the ecosystem and then just add this information there, and that's it. But it seems like that's it. Well, thanks to everybody who was able to live through this more than 2 hour stream. We have been going over the previous year, doing some summing up of different things that were happening in the Aurora ecosystem. We have been talking about the future plans. It was a live session of the AMA. I tried to answer all of the questions. Hopefully all of your questions have been answered. If not, or if you have new questions, you always are able to reach out to me in Twitter. You can just tweet, mention me, Alex Aurora Dev, or mention Aurora is near, which is the official Twitter handle for Aurora account. And I'm here always to help you and answer your questions and hopefully deliver more to the ecosystem. I urge you to be active in the upcoming year. There is nobody else except ourselves who is doing our fate, who's installing our fate, who is moving it forward. So let's not be lazy. Let's work together towards the better future. As usual, I hope you like my cat. And the next time when we would be able to see each other is going to happen on the next Friday Alpha League session, exactly 1 week from now, already in 2024. And with that, I'm wishing you a happy new year and a very, very good continuation of the holidays. And we'll see each other pretty soon. Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks everybody for the feedbacks, for the ideas. Really appreciate it. And see you in just a week from now. Bye bye.